Hey, okay, so today we are going over law of sines. So I can use the law of sines to solve for sides and angles of triangles. We are basically going to use this. This is not filled in on your notes, so you'll need to do so. It shows the relationships between the angles, so like angle A and its relationship with side A. So notice that the sides are always opposite of the angles. So angle C is opposite of angle or side C. Angle B is opposite of side B. It's basically if you know any two angles and any side, then you can solve using the law of sines. So we'll start just with the measure of angle C, and to find that you take 180 degrees and you subtract it from the sum of the other two angles, so 45 and 72. And 45 and 72 is 117, and then when you subtract them you get 63 degrees. That is our other angle, angle C. Alright, now we want to find side A. First of all, we have to figure out what side A is. Side A is always going to be across from angle A. Side C will always be across from angle C. So what we need to do is we need to figure out, alright, we are going to use A and B up here because angle B we have and side B we have. I'm going to write this out. We only have to use side A. So it's side A over just A. And then that's going to equal sine B over B. And we have three of these things. We are missing this. So sine A is 45. Sine of 45 over A, which we don't have. And then sine of 72, which is angle B, over 12. And then we need to cross multiply. When we cross multiply, we will get, and I'll come over here, 12 times sine of 45 is equal to A times sine of 72. Alright, and then ultimately we want to find sine all by itself. We want to have A all by itself. So we want to divide by sine of 72 on both sides. And A is going to equal whatever this is when we put it in the calculator. So let me grab my calculator. So here is my calculator. I need to put this in it and make sure it's on degree. If it says radians up there, switch it to degree. So I've got 12 times, click trig, sine 45. And then this is all going to be divided by sine of 72. And so we're going to get 8.9. That's going to be our side A. And then our side C, I'm going to use B again. So I'm going to have sine C over C and sine B over B. The reason I'm using that is just simply because we already have sine B and it's not a decimal like side A would be. Okay. So we know that C is 63 degrees, so sine of 63 over, that's what we're looking for, C, and then B is sine of 72 over 12. So my side B is 12. I'll go ahead and label that there. It might make it easier to see where this stuff is coming from. And then I want to cross multiply C times sine of 72 equals 12 times sine of 63. And we are going to divide both sides by sine of 6. Ooh, that was not what we want to do. By sine of 72, excuse me. Alright, because we want c all by itself, so we need to get rid of sine of 72 on that side. And then divide by sine of 72. And then it will be 12 times sine of... I'm having the hardest time putting in the right numbers. 12 times sine of 63 divided by sine of 72. It'll look like that. Oh, I can't see that because of the glare. So 11.2. That is what our C equals. Alright, we're going to do the same thing for the next one. I would suggest pausing the video, doing the next example on your own, and then once you get done with that, check your answers. Alright. So measure of angle E. Let's put a little line there. Measure of angle E. Alright, to find that, 180 minus the other two combined, so 73 plus 41. And then when we put that in the calculator, we will get 66 for the measure of angle E. And then we can label that. Then I'm going to angle my sides, or label my sides. So this is lowercase d, across from E is lowercase e, across from F, lowercase f. So if we are wanting to solve for F, we want to use our, we notice that D has both the side and the angle. So sine D over D, and then we want to find F, sine F over F. Alright, what does that look like? Just plugging in the numbers now. So sine of 73 over 8 equals sine of 41 over, we don't know, that's what we're trying to find. So we're going to go up here, F times sine of 73 is equal to 8 times sine of 41. And then we want to get F all by itself. Oh goodness. Wow, I just did all that without you guys being able to see it. So that's what we're doing. Sorry about that. We're going to divide by sine of 73 on both sides. So F is going to equal that, and that's what we're going to put in our calculator. 8 times sine of 41, close parentheses, divided by sine of 73. It's going to be 5.5. And that's about what F equals, is 5.5. The last one is side E. I'm going to use D again. And so sine of D, 73 over 8. So I'm using my D's again, because that's what we have, and it's not decimals. And then my E that I'm looking for is 66. Sine of 66 is equal to, or sine of 66 over E is equal to the combination of these. Okay, now we just cross multiply E times sine of 73. And then that's equal to 8 times sine of 66. And then we divide by sine of 73 on both sides. Okay. So 8 times sine of 66 divided by 73. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay, let's try that again. 8 times sine of 66. This calculator does not like me. Divided by sine of 73. There it is. That is 7.6 is the value of E. Alright, so this next example is a little different. I already labeled these as side A, side B, and side C across from their angles. This one we are actually going to change to a 10. That was a misprint. Change that real quick in yours. Alright, same idea. I'm going to use sine A and sine B, the ratios, but if you notice here, we have one angle and two sides. So it's a little bit different. The ones before we had two angles and one side. We're still going to fill in everything like we have been, though. So I have my sine B, my sine A. I don't have this. That's what I'm missing for the angle. Okay, so we have sine of B over B, sine of A over A. Those are the two we're using because we have all of sine A. We are looking for the angle of B. So we're going to fill all those things in. 12 for B, 10 for A, and then sine of A, sine of 53, because that's angle A. Then when we cross multiply, we are going to get, this is actually 10. Let's change that. So we have to change that to a 10. It's going to end up cross multiplying to where sine of B equals this over here. But we want B all by itself, right? So if you remember when we were solving for angles, when we were just doing right triangle trig, we would take the sine inverse, and what would happen for that is we'd take the sine inverse of whatever was on that side of the equal sign. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to put all of this in the calculator, and B is going to end up equaling 73.4 degrees. Oh, goodness. And that's what our angle B, so measure of angle B is 73.4. I'll write that here, 73.4. And then measure of angle C, it's pretty easy to find because it's just 180 minus the sum of 53 and 73. So 180 minus 126. So, 73.4. So 126.4, there we go. So our angle C is going to be 53.6. So now we have those angles. I don't know why I keep wanting to put a decimal there. 53.6. Alright, last one, side C. So I'm going to use the same thing with sine B. With sine A. So sine of A over side A is 10. And then we'll do the same thing for C. So sine of 53.6 over C, which we don't know what it is. So this example is more like the ones we did before. So C times sine of 53 equals 10 times sine 53.6. I'm going to divide both sides by sine of 53. And this is what we are putting in the calculator. So we're going to do 10 divided by sine of 53.6. 10 times sine of 53.6. I put that in wrong. and then divide the whole thing by sine of 53. We end up with 10.1 for side C. All right, last problem. So this one's the same idea as before. We have all of E, which is good. We are looking for angle F. Okay, so sine of E is 88, sine of 88 over 20 is going to be equal to, we don't have sine of F, so I'm just going to write sine of F over 15, because that is the side, lowercase, there we go. All right, we're going to cross multiply sine of F times 20 equals 15 times sine of 88. Then we want to divide by 20. There we go. And then remember what we did before. When we were looking for an angle, to find angle F, you must take the sine inverse of this whole thing, 15 times sine 88, divided by 20. So let's see what that looks like in the calculator. Sine inverse of 15 times sine of 88, close parentheses, divided by 20, is 48.6, and that's what the angle F equals. And then we want sine of D, so we've got 48.6, or we want angle D. So we take 180 degrees and we subtract the sum of both of these, and we end up with 43.4 degrees. And then our last step is, I'm going to take this same thing we used here, so sine of E over E, set it equal to sine of D. So my angle D is 43.4. We don't know what the side is. So it's going to look the same as this when we cross multiply. We would get D, well no, it won't look the same as that. Sorry, it's going to look the same as the example we did up here. This one, D times sine of 88 equals 20 times sine of 43.4. Then we divide by sine of 88 on both sides, and that will get rid of that on that side. And then we just put this in the calculator, just 20 times sine of 43.4 times sine of 88, because we are looking for a side, so we don't want to use inverse. And when we put that in the calculator, we get 13.8.